Alright, here is the video review for DX9's GABRIEL, their version of Omega Supreme. And as you can see, we've had to move out of the usual review space because he is, just like Fans Toys, very large here on my dining room table. He takes up a good portion of it from side to side. And here's his base mode. Now, as you can see, like, there's no grooves in the track here. Just like Fans Toys, he doesn't have the motorized tank like the old school one did. The tank does have some wheels on the bottom, so it can roll along, but it's really kind of a pose them on the base where you want them, although you kind of have to have them either up here or on one of the side tracks, because on the it doesn't really sit in a groove here. Just to give you an idea, but there's the tank. But it looks cool. It's massive. It's huge. Here he is with Masterpiece Optimus Prime, and with Power of the Prime's Leader Class Optimus Prime, just to give you an idea of how both of those scale with him. Like I said, it's a pretty hefty toy. Now the tank itself, like I said, has this turret can go up and down. These turrets can actually go up and down, which is nice. There's a little articulation there. And the turret rotates. There is a cockpit you can switch around here, and apparently if you open this up, you can actually have a little Diaclone guy in there manning the controls. But aside from that, there's not a whole lot of feature play in the base mode. Aside from, it's big. I mean, the rocket's not attached. You can fly the rocket around, but there's no opening panel here or anything on the rocket. It's just the rocket. Now, what's neat about this guy is his transformation, and we'll go ahead and show that off. So we'll go ahead and pull the tank off. And we're going to bring the chair around, see if I can't keep this in frame here. So for the tank, actually this should be down here as well. So flip this panel up onto the back of the tank. It's pegged in here. Push these flat and push them in. There's a little slider right here to help pop them out when you come into tank mode. But push those in to here, and then underneath, I'm going to unpeg these, pull these out, untab the wheels. Now, when you're going from robot mode to tank mode, do make sure to flip this tab out and tab it into the slot up here. Otherwise, the wheels just kind of flop around. So you want to make sure those lock in. But do those down, fold that down like that. This piece comes, you can see it's on a hinge here. You want to extend, fold this in while pulling that hinge down. Actually, fold these in first, that might help. So fold those two panels in. Bring this down on this hinge and then fold that up like that, so the treads are on the inside of the body. Lift that up. These panels untab. There's a tab here, and rotate around like this vertically. Go ahead and lift the turret up, turn this around, and you can see this is going to automatically kind of flop down here like that, and then these panels will tab on. So it's all in its place. These should tab on here. There we go. Oops, something's not lined up here because these should be tabbing in here. Oh, there we go. Slide that together, and then these will tab in on the sides like that, and then fold this whole assembly up with the treads like that. Now, when going to tank mode, it helps to take these treads and pull them out the same number of clicks, but 1 or 2 clicks on each side, and then grab the middle and pull the whole assembly out. If you try to pull these as far out as they'll go and then pull the middle out, something gets caught because there's a peg that goes into the side that kind of slides in a curved groove inside the tread. So it helps to, folding it back up, you can push the whole middle section in, but it helps you pull these out a couple clicks first on either side, and then pull the whole, make sure they're at the same click, and then pull the whole assembly out to fold up. And then up here, open up the canopy just for clearance because it's going to pop open anyway. And there's a little tab here on the top of his head that you lift up, and then you can use that to rotate his head around and then fold that back down. And there's the torso chunk right there. We'll go ahead and set that down here for the time being. Now on the side treads here, just pop them off of the off of here. There's a couple little tabs that pop up on one side of the tracks, and they're going to peg in over here on this side. So lift up the tracks, fold these pieces in, then fold these up and tab them together up here. Get them lined up right. There we go. And I have a piece like that. Come around and do the same over here. Pull those up. Pop up the tabs. There we go. And then pull those up. There we go. And set that down. The rocket just pops apart. There's a tab on each side that tabs together. Now you might need some sort of prying tool to get the joint out of there. Don't use scissors, but these are dull enough and this is soft enough that you just need to get something in there just to get that started to pull the joint out of each end of this. And use the empty tab over here. Gives you plenty of leverage without damaging the figure. And we'll set those off to the side here. These yellow pieces here on the back just tab right off. There's a tab on the top of them. They're tabbing to some slots on the back of here. And then this whole assembly, I'm going to sit back down and see if we can do this here. This whole assembly transforms as one piece, and this is what's really cool about this guy. So let's take this. Actually, let's start with the feet. So right here in the middle, there's a connecting piece right here. This is two halves of the legs. So unconnect that, then they actually do tab together. There's a tab on each side that fits into a slot on the other. So untab those. Bring the legs out a bit and close those up. I don't know how well that's showing up there, but those showed up and fold up this way into the leg. And then on the foot, come underneath here, flip this panel up, rotate the foot around like that, and plug it in like that. Pegs in. Bring this up. Bring the whole thing around. Rotate this so the foot is technically facing forward now in relation to the body. These panels right here lift up and fold along this inner piece and collapse into the leg. You might see it better on this side, or maybe not. But fold this up, kind of push on that, and then fold it up into the leg. Make sure everything's collapsed in there. Snap the leg together. There's actually a peg back here as well. It's getting crunchy. A peg here that flips out on the back, inside the leg. Here we go. Back here that pegs these together. Although I found that you really don't, they lock together well enough when everything's put together that you don't need that. Take one of these yellow panels, close that up, and you can see there's slots here. So on the front of the leg, these tabs here, tab it on, slide it down, and that's going to lock the leg together. And we'll do the same on this side. foot around, put it up, rotate it around so I'm getting there. Lift this up from the top, wraps it in, same on this side. And as you rotate it around, you gotta make sure this little tab here is flipped out. It's gonna plug into 2 holes over here. Lock that together, snap that together, and then take this and lock the foot together. And there you can see there's his legs done. Let's lift this up a little bit, come on up. Let's refocus this just to see if we can't. Pretty sure that was in the right spot the whole time, but here we go. And then up here, so bring this whole assembly forward like this. And then untab, it tabs on pretty tightly. Fold these side panels and the back panels down. And these are the slots where those yellow tabs tabbed into in vehicle mode. But this upper half separates from this bottom half, and it locks together very tightly, meaning to bang it. There we go. So it tabs together. It uses the same tabs that the tank is going to use to attach, but there's tabs right here on the lower half that tab into these pieces on the back of the torso here. Lift these panels up, fold the arms out to the side and down. And then this backpack piece was folded flat. You want to lift that up like that, and we'll attach the wings here momentarily. Once that's open, lift it up just a smidge more. We will take the tank, and like I said, there's 2 pegs right here, that peg on here at the front, and then there's 2 tabs on the back of the tank that are going to peg into those same slots back here, and then these 2 little gray tabs on the tank. They don't lock, they're just tabs, but they're going to go in these slots up here next to the top. So just line it all together, snap it all together, and then the arms, there's a peg on the inside of these yellow pieces, goes into the body, and then hold this together, because there's a tab, a gray tab up in here that's going to tab in to this slot on the front of the tank, and this yellow slot is going to go into a slot up here. So you got to make sure you're holding this in, because it's possible to pop this out, and then push this down and latch it in place, and that holds the arms nice and secure. Again, here's this, hold it down and tab it together, and it'll click very securely into place. The arms are over on that side, so I'll go grab them. But yeah, if you lift up his arms, you'll see he's got these little spring slots to slide his arms in. So make sure the elbow is facing forward. If you see the 2 pistons, that's the back. So to the front of his body would be this way. Then push this up and in. There's a little spring ratchet here. And bring his arm down. And you can see now he has the ratcheting in all the various positions there. Same on this arm over here. Lift it up. Bring it around to the back, at which point we can attach the 2 fins, and they're just going to peg in to these 4 pegs here. Peg that one on. There we go. And then lock the backpack down and in place. Make sure it tabs together here. And there is Gabriel in his massive robot mode. Quick size comparison again. Here he is with Masterpiece Prime, Power of the Prime's Leader Class Prime, and with MP Megatron. Oh no, Prime! He died! He died from the awesomeness. No, actually, I just didn't have his ankles set up right. There we go. And he's got ratcheting claws here, and he can, in fact, hold Megatron, if you so wish. I can do so fairly sturdily. He's got some big, strong ratchets in his arms. You can see it's not... Well, unless I start knocking him around and being all napped about it. Here we go. So yeah, there you go. Put your backpack in place there, buddy. He does have LED features, and unfortunately, I don't know what size battery he takes. I have several different types of batteries here, and none of them are the right size or shape. They're little button cell batteries that go... In this arm, you have to unscrew them, and then there's a little button right here that will turn on a bright red LED. You unscrew this, and just the claw piece comes off. On this side, there's a seam right here, and I'll wiggle this off here. There's some wires, and there's a little battery holder in here that folds into a slot. You put the battery in there and slide that back in. Be very careful when doing this. I had to resolder a couple of wires because when this came off, it was very tight, and there's not a whole lot of length extra wire in the tip here. So when I pulled this off, it came off and pulled these red and blue wires out and desoldered them from where the button is, and the button's down here under the arm. There's a little black button on the side, but it ripped out of there. I had to pull that whole assembly apart and resolder the wires back on. That's probably what should have happened, that the LED came out. Thankfully, it didn't come off that time. You see, it's very tight. And you also want to make sure you're not pinching the wires when you close this all up. So be very careful with that when you are putting the battery in there. Posability wise, like his neck lifts up. His neck lifts up on a joint, so that allows him to look up and down to some degree, which is nice. Can swivel side to side, or if you just want his head at an angle from the front, or you can leave it flat against the body and it still swivels just fine. There's a little, on the back of his head here, there's a little flip up panel that shows off his brain. And as you can see, I just leaned him back there to show him too. He's very sturdy, despite not having long exposed heel spurs. He's quite sturdy standing up. Like, I'm not worried about him falling over or anything. Now, I never had any issues really with my Fans Toys one once I had the heels flipped out. But I know some people did. And just overall, in general, he seems to be a little sturdier on his feet than the Fans Toys one did originally. Even though, like I said, I didn't have any major issues with mine. He's got the ratcheting claws. So there's the neck. His arms ratchet forward and out to the sides on both sides. He's got the bicep swivel. Very strong ratchets at the elbow. You can rotate this, although I don't know why you might need to, but that does rotate. And all the electronics are in this upper bit that rotates, so you don't need to worry about tearing anything doing that. He's got waist swivel. All that engineering, and he's still got a waist swivel, which is kind of cool. He's got ratcheting hips. Okay, that's not going to work. Maybe let's put this arm out. There we go. There he is standing on one leg. I wouldn't leave him posed like that. It would not take much to send him toppling, but there you go. But ratcheting hips in both directions, both front to back, side to side. The does have a thigh swivel, although again, it's a little limited because of where the armor hits the crotch piece here. He's got a little opening panel here in his crotch. Maybe you could hide a Microman dude in there or something. Weird, but hey, whatever floats your boat. He's got a good foot tilt here. Not so much front to back, but he does have some angle tilt there in his feet. So yeah, I'm really happy with this one. Like I said, I think it might actually beat out Fans Toys for me. Terminus Giganteus was a fun figure and like super massive, and like he definitely had that going for him. Now that I've got another giant one, I can appreciate some of the stuff he does a little better. One, his wings, the way the wings fold up, make them so they don't stick out too far, and I felt like Terminus had slightly bigger wings than he really needed. The all-in-one transformation of the body is super nice. The LEDs and batteries are a little harder to get to. He does not have light-up eyes or the chest that the Fans Toys version did, so a little less electronic feature-rich. A little less die-cast in him, I believe. I think maybe his thighs here are die-cast. No, those are all plastic too. I feel like maybe his hips are metal, but the articulation in the head is nice. And overall, just the look. He just seems better proportioned, or he's one of the better proportioned Omega Supreme toys we've gotten. Like I said, he does come with an alternate face that you can swap in. And the easiest way to do that, I've found, you can do it without turning the head at all, if you're really persistent. But if you just lift this up and turn his head just slightly sideways, that allows you to kind of get behind the faceplate and then turn it out and get it loose enough that you can wiggle it out here. And you see there's just his eyes floating in space. There's a standard face and an open mouth face. And then you just take whatever face you want to put in there and slide it into place. Then close the visor. So yeah, like I said, I'm very impressed with it. It's solid. I don't have any issues. Like I said, I don't have any concerns about him falling over. And like I said, overall, I just generally like the proportions. I really dig the way the tank comes out and transforms, and I really am enamored with how those legs and the centerpiece form the whole base without just a bunch of parts forming. The only, like, the wings, the tank, or the rocket, I guess technically the tank is a separate piece, and then these little leg clips are technically separate pieces, but the way that whole thing integrates is just really nice. But yeah, there it is, DX9's. Also the price. I think this is a little cheaper than... Or did Fans Toys drop the price on theirs? I feel like he came in at roughly half what Fans Toys cost. But I remember there was a price drop at some point too. I still think Fans Toys is a little more expensive. And with that in mind, I think you're getting more for your money with this guy. But like I said, they're both good solid figures. I really enjoyed Fans Toys as well. I thought it was a neat, massive Omega Supreme, and I can see why people would enjoy that one. But I think personally, he's a lot cooler. Now we still have the Wei Zhang version, which is coming, that I think actually has a rolling tank in theirs. And there's also there's another one like Mech Toy Fan or Hero Mech Toys or something like that. There's another one that I think is a smaller scale it's also looking really good. Like the whole the rocket turns into like a giant cannon emplacement. It looks pretty cool, but we'll see how that one progresses. And I think the Wei Zhang has lights and like actually voice in it. So we'll see how that one turns out when it's all said and done. But this one's actually really nice.